Good morning, beloveds. Life is a balancing act. I believe that resonates with so many people. Certainly does with me in a greater way today. The images you just saw, the first is referred to by locals, and I'll get back to you with more information on where that is. It's referred to as the Bridge to Nowhere. And it's by sculptor Maui Baden. And the second, if you didn't recognize that that was me, it was I on the bridge. So first, about the bridge. The artist Baden began in the 1960s exploring ways in which his sculpture could be experienced physically, with the whole body as opposed to just visually. That was some experience. And it ties in perfectly with this quarter's book for our center, The Heart Mess Solution. For there are no accidents in the mind of God. There is always the perfection of the journey, the adventure, the ongoingness, our life, as it balances itself in its process. And so this recent adventure of mine is the inspiration. And it's interesting that my title, Life, It's a Balancing Act, came through me before the experience was even known to exist for me on that bridge to nowhere. And so I'm always in awe of the perfection of this life as I align more consciously with it. And so that, I believe, is a deeper calling, a higher knowing for each of us to be aware of that pathway for us. And so let me begin with a little more foundation for my lesson today with a quote from the Heart Math Solution book. It's on page 137. And I quote, "Emotional energy works at a higher speed than thought." I'll let that sit with you for a moment. Emotional energy works at a higher speed than thought. And me, wondering a lot as I do, I thought, why is this? How is this? Well, they go on to say, this is because the feeling world operates at a higher speed than the mind. We might call that a vibration. And the scientists have repeatedly confirmed that our emotional reactions show up in brain activity before we even have time to think. In other words, we evaluate everything as we perceive it, and then we think about it afterwards. End quote. Well, I don't know about you, but I have done it backwards. I have done it from the emotional aspect. And I can honestly tell you that my emotions were racing way ahead of my rational mind as I began my journey on that steel walkway, the path to nowhere. That path was quite an opening in my awareness. And for those of you who this morning were enjoying Vicky Lope's meditation at 9:30, it shall continue to be that perfect right peace that aligns itself as spirit through all of what's happening today. And all of it, we didn't have email about all this. It shows up in its perfection. And I am always filled with wonder when I realize the magnitude of all of this life. So, how did I get on this bridge to nowhere? Well, some friends of ours, James and mine, live on a lot of acreage in a mountain community called Comshi, California. It's between Ukiah and Mendocino. And it's in the middle of, some might say, nowhere. But for me, it became somewhere. For me, it was a center of love and nourishment and just new adventure for us. We enjoyed 2 nights and wonderful meals and spirited discussion and beverage. They have a pond that they've created. They grow vegetables and they raise chickens and have eggs, and it's just a wonderful, self-supportive life they have going. Well, one day number 2, they wanted to take us and show us this artist exhibit. And I said, well, where is it? And he said, well, it's up in the trees. I said, up in the trees? Yeah, come with us. I said, oh, what do we wear? I said, it's not fancy. We're going to go through bushes and trees and, up dusty trails and up a mountain and into, oh my gosh. I thought, I don't know what I thought. I was just like, where are we going? Where in the world are we going? And so we hopped into this real, I call it a gutsy golf type cart. And up the hillside we went, bumping and ducking and leaning along the rugged rough paths and not watching out for the limbs. And oh my gosh. And suddenly we come to, well, you don't screech on a dirt road, but we came to a screeching halt. And here was this, what the artist termed as a temple, right in the middle of the forest. And we stepped up, unlocked the doors, and there was an energy in this place that I just can't describe. You'd have to be there. And the concept of the structure, this temple, as the artist called it, was that he created walls, I believe there were 6, of different widths, but all the same height, I believe, and windows of different sizes. And the doors we came in and the door we left out the back. And we were told or invited to locate the center of this structure. And so I walked around. I walked inside and I looked and I looked and I looked. And he said, the husband said, I bet you can't find the center. And so I just stood there for a moment, made a few adjustments in the room, and I said, it's right here. And he says, well, how do you know that? I said, it's where I feel comfortable. This is where I feel centered. And the husband, who's also an artist, said, you got it. That's exactly what the artist had in mind. Wow. So after I was centered, we walked out the back door, and here was that pathway. Well, I didn't know what it looked like. I had never seen it, only told about it on the way up. Well, as you may have noticed, yeah, it's sturdy, it's steel, but it's only about 2.5 feet wide. Very sturdy, as I said. It's a great pattern. It goes straight, it's level, it goes straight out through the trees, and then all at once, there are no trees close by. And I had to stop because I felt a little off balance. Nothing was moving, only my emotions. I felt uneasy. I was a little afraid I was going to fall because it went from ground level beneath it to about 15, 20 feet, and it did all this kind of undulation under you, and all these third generation beautiful trees growing up, and it was almost a prehistoric experience for me. But my point is, this path to nowhere was actually the path of the individual. That as we step out onto some uncharted territory, it's uneasy. Many times we say we want something new. Well, that was new. That was new. But it even though it was uneasy, my mind, I began directing my emotions and doing the conscious affirming of my safety, my balance, my core. I'm grounded, even though I wasn't touching the ground. And then, so we continued to the end of the path. And how beautiful it was to stand at the end, which, as I said, the locals called it the path of nowhere. But that end was the end of what I had believed about myself. And whatever was next was open space. So that whole experience was a metaphor of it, and one that reminded me that, we're on our own individualized path of this life. And I've given it lip service before, but this was something quite profound, as you can probably tell. Along the way, people, ideas, and experience have presented themselves to me, and they do to you as well, I'm sure. Some are quite life-changing. This one was for me, and it's a keeper. Others come along, and we get to learn from them, and then to tell them, give them a real happy bye-bye. Thank them. Thanks for the memories, but off you go now. It was a wonderful experience, and I just thought we were going for food, beverage, and sleep, but oh my gosh, it was so much more. Again, I encourage you to go online, go to our website, and to enjoy the experience of Vicki Lope's meditation from this morning. So I would like to do a little process with you this morning. And It's about our experiences we have in life. And so if you'd like to get comfortable, if you're not comfortable enough already, relax and close your eyes for a few moments. And what I'm going to be doing for you today is I'm going to be asking you 2 questions. So imagine in your mind a happy experience, one that brings a smile to your face and warmth to your heart. Now take in a slow, deep breath. And what is the feeling you're feeling right now? Is it love? Is it joy? Is it exhilaration? And once you've named the feeling, imagine that feeling moving into the physical space of your heart. And breathe that into your heart. Breathe that feeling fully into your heart. And embrace it and love it. Caress it. And then with gratitude, exhale a and breathe that feeling in again. And release it. And breathe that feeling in one more time. And release it. That was a process of leading with the mind. A process that is a drawing out of your stored inner emotions or feelings. It's a process of consciously engaging, embracing, and unifying with your heart. It's a full circle. It's oneness. A balancing of the inner self. It's a feeling of your heart. And the feelings of heart are not the same as the emotions of the heart. You can open your eyes when you choose. And the second question is a series of 2 or 3. And we're going to go in a different direction with your eyes fully open. Are you a person who shows up in life with a generous, loving, and compassionate heart? If so, you are leaning into a more balanced way of being. You are directing your emotions. You are one who is consciously minding your heart. Or are you the opposite? A person whose emotions run amok. In other words, are you creating a theme park life? One with emotional roller coasters and bumper cars of conflict. I think we've all done that. And it's, for me, not the ticket I wish to purchase in the future. Not saying I won't, but I'm more conscious before I, give out my spiritual Visa card. So in the Heart Nest solution on emotions, I quote, and it says this: emotions in themselves aren't really intelligent. But anything that has a flow, as emotion and thought do, has a theme of intelligence organizing it. I'll say that again. Emotions in themselves aren't really intelligent, but anything that has a flow, as emotion and thought do, has a theme of intelligence organizing it. How we organize our thoughts and emotions and what we do with them reflect our intelligence. Pretty wise, I might add. Pretty wise. End quote. When we let our unmanaged thoughts dictate how we respond emotionally, we're looking for trouble. Life truly is a balancing act. We're always in that stabilizing idea of keeping ourselves balanced. It's always balancing itself, not for us, but first to us. You see the difference? Life is always in the process of balancing itself to us. It's our mind, it's our call, it's our emotion that creates our experience. I'm going to ask you to use your imagination again. Imagine a playground teeter-totter. And at each end of this teeter-totter, there are two lines of young children waiting to get on. Well, in one line, there's a group of children, and that line is called the heart line. The other line is called the mind line. Your challenge in this life is to choose one child from each line and place that child at each end of the teeter-totter. One mind, one heart. Choose wisely, because the goal is for the teeter-totter to realize balance. Take your time. Take your time. You may want to switch them up, switch them out. Might be one a little taller, a little wider, a little shorter, a little whatever. But we get to choose how we balance our inner teeter-totter. Now, you will most likely need to select different children over and over and over and over and over again, because we're alive. The moral? Life is like the teeter-totter. It's a balancing act. A process of adjusting, and more adjusting. And I use the teeter-totter concept to remind us to be as a child. Be as a child. Be playful, allowing humor and laughter and joy to play a major role in this life balance. So I have some remarks as I conclude, as I wrap up. And the first is from the Science of Mind text, page 292. And it's the chapter on mental equivalence. Quote, I stand in the midst of eternal opportunity, which is forever presenting me with the evidence of its full expression. I stand in the midst of eternal opportunity, which is forever presenting me with the evidence of its full expression. End quote. As I stood at the end of that path to nowhere, 15 feet above the forest floor, I found myself, I, standing in, feeling deeply, accepting fully, and giving freely oneness. Oneness. The oneness of a profound love, of peace, and of safety. That is the truth of myself. And I'm inviting each of you to take a stand in the midst of your own truth. I'm inviting each of you into a greater awareness of the divine balance and partnership of your heart and mind. And to assist you, I would like you to repeat, wherever you are, out loud, these affirmations by Dr. Ernest Holmes. You ready? I am joy, peace, and happiness. I am the spirit of joy within me. I am the spirit of peace within me, of poise, and of power. I am the spirit of happiness within me. I radiate life. I am life. There is one life, and that life is my life now. Beloved, life is a balancing act. And I know that with a greater awareness of mind and heart, that yours is assured. So take the walk. Take the path to somewhere new, to the opportunity of awareness, of adventure, of life, filled with love and peace and harmony, beginning right now. Namaste. And so it is.